Good morning, Lafayette. I'm your meteorologist, Brian Burden, with your forecast for Tuesday, April 28th. Already, we're almost done with the month of April, and we have had plenty of weather in our area over the last 24 hours or so. We'll cover some of that today. We're going to talk about how it's going to be colder, it looks like, on a lot of the charts right now. And this, what I kind of noticed. One big storm each week with a couple little dinky ones here or there. So that generally means, I think, a lot of maybe some drier conditions, but it rained so much yesterday, I think we're going to have problems with water in fields again. And we'll see on that, and we'll take a look on that on some of our cameras and see if we're seeing some of that poor weather out there like that also. So just something to keep in mind, something to, see if it's actually happening or not. So that's kind of what we've been looking at and what we'll be looking at today for sure. I was just checking out my sound to make sure I was good. You know how you walk in the microphone? I was a little worried I didn't have sound going out there. So hopefully I do. Hopefully I'm able to talk to each and every one of you out there this morning. And hopefully your Tuesday is starting off pretty nice. But as for us, let's get into it. Let's get into some of the charts here and see what we can find. We'll go straight over to the MSN board, just what it tells us what the current weather is locally here in Lafayette. 53 degrees under cloudy skies. I know there's some spots of sun in there, especially out towards the west and maybe around the southern portion of Lafayette right now. But up to the north here, we are definitely still cloudy, and we'll probably see that on the satellite picture pretty easily, all right? So 53 this morning. What is our normal low? It's 46 this time of the year. So 53, not bad this morning, and we've been hanging right there in the lower 50s for a while since the rain went through last night, and we kind of steadied off after midnight or so. So it says we're going to have a high of like 63 today. We'll see if we can get to that maybe later in the day, but it's all going to be dependent, as always, on how much of the sunshine pops out later on this afternoon. So what we generally see when these kind of patterns is we stay cloudy, and then later in the afternoon we start to dry up off towards the west, and it comes towards us. And sometimes there's some slivers in there where you can see some sunshine like we maybe had this morning, but then we'll see what happens as we go through the day. So if you kind of follow along these kind of little charts, they'll give you every couple hours here on what it thinks it's going to be down here. That's kind of cool. I like that. Gives you at least an indication of what's happening. And it does show a little warm up by late this afternoon, and then it tries to bring in some more rain in the forecast for later on, which I do believe we still have a chance for tonight. And that'll be one of the more dinky little storms. It was the storm we looked at to see how close it was going to come to us, to see if it was going to give us rain for tomorrow. We looked at that yesterday just to see. So today we'll go back, we'll look at it again. We're now a day closer, kind of pinpointing where the low is going to go. That kind of thing is what we will cover today. So 63 today, it's saying. Tomorrow only 60. Thursday 59, look at this, Friday 52. So you can see the cold coming back. Saturday 55. Those numbers now below normal for your highs for this time of the year. And then you see a 36 in here Wednesday. Friday morning is still the pinpointed day. Do we get down to the freezing mark? And do we have a frost advisory out or a freeze warning out for Friday, May 1st? May 1st. Remember, we can get freezing temperatures all the way to like the second week of May pretty consistently most years. We'll see something in there in the first couple weeks, at least 1 or 2 days, where in the early morning hours it's cold. And then the extended forecast looks pretty cold too. So let's take a look. Let's go right out to the radar right away here. All right, so we'll hit the radar. And I went to the infrared just to start because look at the dramatic look of the storm that went through yesterday. You can see it out here to our east. Lafayette is right here just to give you a good indication so you can see where it is. I'll leave the cursor there for a little bit. And what you can see is the system has cleared us pretty well, but it has left this cloud bank behind it like it always seems to do when it pulls the air out of the north. And you can see how it extends. You can see the grays here. This is lower clouds. Extends all the way up to Lake Superior to our north. And then we have some more high clouds starting to stream in from the west, hence the reason we're going to see maybe some more storms today. What were we looking at in our forecast was a cold front that went through, and then as it comes down here, does a low form here and come back up through us overnight tonight into tomorrow. And then I'm interested to see all the details on that too, because while I've looked at some things, I'm kind of looking at some of them just like you are, and just telling you what I think when I see them. All right, so that's how we go through that right there. Now let's change this over to visual, though. We want to see what's like visually, because we're now starting to pick up more, and sure enough, you can see the lower clouds really easily now, all the way up into Wisconsin, like we talked about. And there's a sliver of a gap right in the Lafayette area right there. So that's why we're seeing a few spots with sunshine this morning. Meanwhile, we are seeing that cloud bank off to our west. It's going to move towards us, but it's also going to erode as the day goes on, as the sun starts hitting on it more and more into the afternoon hours. And so there's your big system moving up over. The low itself looks like it's now north of Lake Huron right now, and moving back up into Canada. And there's a really big system, I think you guys can see it, out off the coast of the Carolinas and off the east coast of the entire eastern seaboard, it looks like right now. Now we'll see where that goes. Probably heading out towards the northeast. Am I the only one tired this morning on a Tuesday morning? Got plenty of sleep last night. Not sure what the deal is. All right. So here we go. So what we can see there is the system, and it wraps down and around. Still interested to see what's going to happen with a low developing in Texas and maybe moving up, or will we have some rain that comes in from the west from this little low here that's popping into the Colorado and into Nebraska, that area there. So all right, so that's the satellite there. Let's zoom in on it, though. We gotta come in a little closer, right? Let's see if we can get Lafayette in here pretty good. I'm gonna look back off to the northwest a little bit. So Lafayette's right there. Sure enough, you can see some blue skies here and there, right? A couple spots, it looks like, back off towards, looks like the Covington camera might be pretty good if we take a look at that here in a little bit. But plenty of clouds off towards the northwest, and I'm seeing, you see the fish scale kind of look here, waves in the ocean kind of look right there. That's a sign of turbulence there. And most of these clouds are in the 2,000 foot to 4,000 foot range. So they're, aviation-wise, that's where you're kind of going to be when you're trying to land at a time. You say you're coming in from the West Coast, and you're going to drop into Chicago, and you're going to come in from the north side. Maybe they're bringing you in that day. Well, you're going to have to watch out for some turbulence as you come through those clouds. Some pretty good turbulence showing up there on the charts really easily. So, but there's the gap to where we are right now, looking pretty good. And they're a big gap all the way down to St. Louis and over towards Evansville and back up towards us. But you can see the movement is coming towards us. So we'll see if it fills in or if it falls apart. I feel a little better. Look at this right here. It looks like it gets a little bit better right there in the local area south of the lake right now. So maybe it won't fill in fully and we'll get some more sunshine. Hence the reason we're going to get to 63 maybe this afternoon, where yesterday it only looked like we might get back to like 58. So we'll have to see what happens with the cloud cover right now over the next 24 hours. Well, next 6 hours for us here in town, that's for sure, during the day. All right, so let's go look at some of the cameras around the area, and I'm interested, of course, just like you are, in the Covington camera. Sure enough, look at all the sunshine there. You can see that. I see some wet pavement, though, so we know it rained over there pretty good, and we'll be interested to see how some of the fields look like on some of the cameras, too, that we're going to be looking at. But this one is in Covington. Sunshine there being seen. Can't quite see it because it's looking back into the sun, but there is some sunshine on that front. Let's go up to Rensselaer. And what do we see there? Well, it's gloomier. We can see some of that 2000 deck in there really easily here, all the way through the spots. But we can also see bright spots in places too, so that's good. Traffic looks good. I see a little bit of water over here on one of the fields over on the left side of the picture there. Maybe a little running along the edge, which I'll bet these are problem areas for these farmers all the time, but something to keep in mind there for that, all right? And then you look at the bridge, everything looks quiet, but at least we could look back out. Now, here's that great camera. that they have at the 231 junction. Look at this. You can definitely see water in the fields here, puddles there. These are pretty flat fields probably. You can see where things have been running maybe the last week or so. There's been rain, and we're starting to get rain in the retention ponds next to the road right here, right? This is looking towards the south from 231 because obviously the sun's over here, right? But you can see the low deck. You can kind of see where the blue is coming through in different spots too. So not too bad there on that front. And then the Remington picture, this one is just kind of a wasteful one for us. Although, I didn't really go look at the fields, did we? You can't really see much, can you? These fields here look pretty good up there towards the Remington area right now. And then here's another shot of the 231 camera. Different angles, right? We're looking pretty good on the fields here, all right? And I know it rained more up there right now. And then here we are, the 231 junction. Same thing. Fields don't look too bad, but how dry. It's been very dry in a lot of areas. We've been in a drought basically off and on for 4 or 5 years, really, in the Lafayette area. It's been that way. Oh, and here we go. State Road 18. There you go. Lots of water in the fields right now. Look at that. Up in that area where 18 crosses 65 out there. And you can see the low deck of clouds pretty easily up here, and a bright sunshine back down towards where Lafayette is. That's where you'll be seeing some open spots. Here's 43 where it crosses. Can't see the sky much. We don't see much on the ground either. Pavement's dry. That's good. Everything's quieted down since last night. The same with State Road 25. You can see the traffic pretty easily, and I can pick up the low clouds pretty easily too, in and out, different shades and colors. And then, there's a little sunshine on State Road 26 starting to show up right there. You can see some of the sun, but you can see the low deck that's right there. I'm feeling good because I can see through in a lot of spots. It's not a just total solid stratus kind of deck. It's stratocumulus. You can see blue spots. And yes, this is where we were thinking of the gaps. And there is some rain right there that's in the fields, flooding the field there on the, that'd be the south side of State Road 38 there of Dayton, right? So as you can see that right there. So looking towards the south right now. Now you go down to Frankfort, a little bit of sun down there on State Road 28 where it crosses, not bad. These are the fields we've been watching for probably a month now, actually. These fields right here have been flooded. They just dried out in the last 4 or 5 days. I think last Thursday or Friday we noticed that the fields were pretty dry, but now look at, they're back to lakes here in different places. So not a lot of pluses here. You can see it off in the distance too. A few spots it looks like there's water in the lakes. Retention ponds are picking up some stuff there next to the highway like they're supposed to, and some sunshine popping up at the rest area. So where else do we got to go? Let's go down to that camera at Terre Haute that we like to look at once in a while. See if we can find that one. There's a bunch of them down there. It's this one right here, I think. Yeah, pretty good. You can see the road really, really good. You can see some blue spots down there too. They're still got some wet patches and some water in the drainage areas, so that's where they are right now. Now let's go back out and come back up to Lafayette and hit the Crawfordsville camera real quick. Yep, dry there, looking pretty good, not too bad. We go back up and let's see if we can find Logansport's camera. Because the only problem with Logansport's camera is it's pointed straight into the sun. But with clouds over it, we're pretty good. Road still looks wet right in here. Yesterday, I think the angle of the sun made it look like it had been shining. I'm not sure if it really was or not, all right, over there. So here's what we've got up on the west side. You can see, I looked at this about a half hour ago, and there was sunshine on it. So that just gives you a kind of an indication, doesn't it? And then, of course, the airport road. Why would we want to look at anything other than the circles on the grounds, the crop circles in the pavement? Oh, there's no stream available. They're finally trying to figure out the River Road camera, possibly. And over at the mall, everything's dry right now and looks pretty good. So that's where we are with those. Let's go back to the satellite. We see where the clouds are, still streaming in there from that. Looking pretty good, I think, for most of the day. And then this evening is when we're going to have to start worrying about things. So how much rain did we get last night? Well, here's a raindrop. It's from their website, Raindrop, which is kind of for farmers. I think they set it up for that. But it gives you an indication of what you're supposed to have. And you can see where some of the heaviest rains, you look at the bright spots right here, that's where the heaviest rains fell last night. And sure enough, there's a swath north of Lafayette right there up through Brookston and all the way over to Delphi. That would be my neck of the woods up here. You on the south side had a little less, but how much did you get? You still got 1.36 inches, right? Up to the north, almost 2 inches there in that battleground area. You go back down towards Clinton and the state line, they got 2 inches. Brownsburg down there, 2 inches down there. So you can see, looks like Rossville was the low guy at 1.78, if you want to call it low, I guess. 1.48 over towards Rushville in that area. Rushville. So there we go on that front. Let's zoom in a little closer, see if we can hit some spots. We got a lot of you guys on the south side of town. There you go, 1.5 inches basically on the south side of town right now. That would be the central portion of the south side of town. You go way south, 1.63 inches. Out by Dayton, they got almost 2 inches out there. Down by Stockwell, about an inch and, 1 1/3 inches there. Concord on here, if you live out there, 1.3, and the south side of town, 1.6. So you go way out on the west side of town, they're still up around 2 inches, so a little bit more over there. And a couple spots back out towards the east here, north of Mulberry. Mulberry itself got around 1.5 inches, and then back up towards Delphi, closing in on 2. Same thing with Springboro, 2 inches there actually, and 2 over Brookston. Now remember, these are not exacts. These are indicated by the radar, but they are pretty close. I'll give you that right now. So they are pretty close, and those totals are consistent across the state. You can go downstate. Look at this, 4 inches down there over in Illinois. Remember we were talking about Effingham and St. Louis. Look at that, 5 inches of rain they got in the totals when they went through it today. So that's where you are on that front. All right, so we've seen everything. We've kind of looked at where everything's at with our satellite picture. We've looked and seen where is there any rain still left out here? Let's see what it looks like on the mosaic. You can see it's all cleared off to the east. I see some rain showers out in Iowa right now, and we're not big enough to really get into what's coming from the south. Let's see. There's the big rain down to the south of us, right? That you're way down now into the Carolinas, the rain from yesterday. And we're watching the little low down here in Oklahoma. I don't know if you guys can see. Yeah, you guys can see most of Oklahoma. It's just off the chart. There's a thunderstorm there that you guys will be able to see. And then all the rain is clearing off to the northwest. So that's where it is now on that chart. And then here's the visible chart so we can see where the clouds are again. Let's get into the model, right? And as we get into the model, Bill down there, Nashville says, thunderstorms camped over our house last night around 2:30 in the morning, and had the nerve to wake him up. I can't believe that. First off, he's a weatherman. The thunderstorms usually don't wake him. So good morning, Bill. Good to see you on here. I haven't had a chance to check out the chat all the time. It's in a spot I can look at it. I can, every once in a while, but when I click on the maps, it disappears, so I don't get to always see it. So luckily, I looked down at my phone and saw that you were on there. All right, so here's our system, right? Our system has cleared the area. The frontal boundary's way down here near Nashville, right there, just to the. He said these thunderstorms right here camped out over him last night, so that's what woke him up. All right, and so our whole system is cleared out. But there's no defined high that can be seen until you get way out over to probably North Dakota. On this is where you're going to see it. And I see a lot of little light green spots, where there's little sprinkles can come out of some of the, low deck that you'll see here and there. So there's a possibility just about anywhere from Illinois to Ohio for some sprinkles or a very, very light shower left over. But generally speaking, everybody's going to be dry during the day today, all right? So that's where everything's at. Now, everything is exited, now moved off towards the east currently. That's where we are at the moment. Now, how does it go through the day today, though? It's going to be pretty good most of the day, right? We're trying to clear out the clouds and get maybe a little bit of a high pressure system in here. And it shows a very weak high over southern Indiana, southern Illinois, just north of Tennessee. But we start to see clouds, rain, everything starting to move in from the southwest and the west, right? Which one of these is going to be our bearer of bad news later on today. All right. So here it is. And you can see right now, it looks like the one from the south is coming up towards us, right? But the good news is it's not that strong. It falls apart a little bit as it gets into Illinois because, for one, it's beating on this one little high. It's not a very big high, but it is beating on it, that's so to speak. They're fighting each other. It's a cage match, so to speak. And the rain loses for a little bit, but then as we get into the evening hours, this is way after midnight. We're at 1 o'clock in the morning, and we have a line right here coming through. All right, so Bill got his showers, looks like this evening, right? There he goes, right around, 11? That's at 8 o'clock tonight, not 7 o'clock. I think he's on a different time zone too. 6 or 7 this evening. He's going to have some showers move through. They go through pretty quickly for him. For us by 11, that's 11 o'clock our time. They're past Nashville or close to it, and then they come in on us, the northern portion of it. Well, the low itself is farther to the south, right? Remember, we're just getting stuff wrapped around it. We're seeing I would call it chaotic scene of where is there a low here, is there a low there. Not one of these big daddy storms that we talk about where you see the big wrap up around it and everything. We're just seeing kind of a low pass through to our south, and we're up on the northern edge catching all this stuff here, all this rain up here on the northern edge, and no real thunderstorm activity in this, but there is some rain in there. All right, so here we are at 1 in the morning, just starting to try to rain in Lafayette. Stays here for a while, runs right over us again. Looks like it's a little heavier south of town than it is in town. And I'll zoom in a little bit in a little bit to show you that. And then the system goes off and it's gone basically by the early morning hours. And then it just leaves some of that scattered stuff that leaves behind it. You know, there's a chance for showers through midday there as a weak trough goes through, and then another little instability trough kind of crosses us. And then we're getting into Thursday night, which is Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and we start to try to clear out again. And we've got, you're going to see there's another wave of something right in here, right? We just took this wave right here, which will be overnight. When we go back, this will be tomorrow. When we go back, we're seeing a wave here. We're seeing that this one is combining and going to give us a little wave of something. Watch how it changes, right? And it gains a little moisture, pulls up a little moisture, and then it kind of has its own little trough behind it back here. All right, that's where you're going to see that. So you can kind of draw it in there, draw it in there, draw it in there. Kind of 3 little waves, but not nearly as heavy. No real thunderstorm activity with this. I'm sure we could see a thunderstorm or two, but generally speaking, not much. There's another little wave back here that we got to keep an eye on, see what happens with that. And as you go through the period, sure enough, that's the one I was looking at the end. It's kind of right here. You'll see it. That would be probably Thursday during the day if anything comes of that. And you can kind of see the wave and the kinks in the isobars right about there. So that's where that wave is coming from the north. Coming from the north, it's drier, right? Can't tap into the Gulf of America, that's for sure. When it taps into the Gulf of America is when we get some of this heavy rain like we did with the last system where it was able to tap into it pretty easily. All right, so that's the big broad view of another system coming through tonight, being kind of chaotic tomorrow, but still decent day tomorrow, but we're going to have scattered rains off and on, right? So let's pinpoint these a little more again, right there, 1 o'clock in the morning, right? 1 to 2, it's going to start raining. It's going to hang on till the morning. There we are at about 4. Well, no, that's 6, excuse me. Then 7, and then we got a little break, but then the rain starts again in mid-morning. Same time I'm talking to you tomorrow, we'll be talking about this little wave right here, right, and see what it does. And you notice it's just mostly northern Indiana, and it hangs on most of the day, though, right? So now the farther north you are, the better chance you'll run into some of those showers right there. And then there's another little wave that comes through around 6 o'clock tomorrow night. So here we are. It rains for a few hours. We get a little gap. Then it rains for a few hours. Then we get a little gap. Then there's a little rain, goes through a little quicker. We get a bigger gap, and then we see what happens going into Thursday, whether something's going to happen. And on that front. Now, what does this mean? Obviously, it's going to hamper our temperature increase, right? That's one thing we're going to look at. So let's look at the temperatures real quick on here. And so here we are this morning. We're going to warm up a little bit today, try to get back up into that 60 range. See, this is more likely to me that we're going to stay back down around 60 or so. 60 to 62 is more likely because of the cloud cover more than anything else. Right now, we're still at 53 degrees. There we go. It's updating right now. So we're still at 53 degrees at the moment. It says we're going to get up near 56 or so, right? Give or take a couple degrees. So I think 60 is not out of the question, but upper 50s to near 60 is about what we're looking at with our temperatures today. A little bit warmer to the south, down under Tennessee. It's in the 70s. It looks like it's going to be for today. Not bad temperature-wise, but they got that rain moving through. And then we'll see what happens overnight tonight. Take a look at that. We still only dropped to like 45, 49. Look at that. 49 is what it shows. Doesn't even show any pockets of 40s lower than that. So tomorrow morning, there you are at 7 o'clock, and it's 49 degrees. Not bad, really. It's not going to be windy either. So, okay, so there goes the system through. It's going to be, we know we're getting the rain off and on, right? And you can kind of see the waves of rain. Look at how this temperature little swath right here, right there. Watch how it moves this way. Okay, so as it's moving, it's the rain that's bringing with it, right? That's that little wave of rain we saw on there. And then some more comes off the lake because we get a flow out of the north. This is Wednesday night, so tomorrow's high doesn't look very good either. We're talking maybe upper 50s to 60 again is going to be a possibility tomorrow. But plenty of cloud cover again will put a stop to any of that temperature increase. And we have lots of cold air bottled up not too far away from us up into central Wisconsin. All of Minnesota could see lows in the 30s tomorrow, probably the 20s for them for Thursday morning. And Friday morning, pretty chilly too. So let's zoom in though. We gotta look in closer to this, don't we? We gotta see what's going on over here. All right, so here's the closeness of it when we can look at it. All right, so here's where are we now? Okay, here we are at 13Z. This is 9 o'clock in the morning here, and it says we should be about 51, 52, and that's what we were seeing on our chart, right? We saw that there. We can see that there's some cold air trying to filter in, and we can also see the flow is coming this direction. So that's what's going to keep us colder today. Hence, it also creates those instability clouds that are like this, right? There's something like that. These clouds here that are over here in southern Indiana are left over from the system off to the east, and then the cold air is bringing in its own cloud cover like this, and you can kind of pinpoint the two together with one being there. And then we're in that little open spot for right now. That's going to close up for a bit, and then it'll take a while for it to erode some of the clouds in this area. But the sun will start eroding it, that is for sure, over as the day goes on today, all right? So. And then we see the temperatures climbing a little bit as we get into the afternoon. There you go. It pinpoints 57 at about 4 o'clock this afternoon. I believe we'll see some sunshine there, and that's the point when we'll be at around 60 or so, give or take a few degrees. We'll start to see some more sunshine there. And then tomorrow morning, only getting down to like 40. Where is it? There's that 49 tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. And then you can see the wave of rain right there coming through. As the morning goes on, and then that cold thrust of temperatures coming down after that. All right, so let's go back to this morning again. Here we are this morning. Let's change back to the precipitation so we can pinpoint it a little bit more. So here's all that widely scattered clouds. If I change it over to clouds, which I think we have, where's it at? All right. Average cloud cover. Here it is. Okay, it shows kind of a gap there, right? Not much. Let's see, go back an hour or two. There it is. See how it's kind of showing where it is, where we could see it on our satellite picture. But then it's got this big area cloud bank that's there. Now let's see how it goes through the day today. It keeps us overcast, but then late this afternoon, here's 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. It's trying to break out, but it doesn't totally break out, does it? We see a couple broken spots there. That's about it. And then the clouds start coming in from the next system. So it's a time thing here. I think the model's probably overdone the cloud cover just a little bit. It'll clear a little quicker. Maybe by 3 to 4 o'clock we get into some okay sunshine this afternoon. I don't think you're going to totally clear off at all, but you're going to see some more sun than we saw this morning. And then it goes through the day tomorrow where there's plenty of sunshine and not in our forecast at all. So there you go on that front. All right, so let's go back to that precip. So here we are this morning. Let's see how it comes in tonight. You can see it come up from the southwest. There it is right on our doorstep at about 1 o'clock in the morning. If you're down over towards Attica, Covington, on the southern portion, Tippecanoe County, probably raining by about 1 o'clock in the morning, 2, 3, 4, pretty heavy around 4 o'clock in the morning compared to the lighter stuff earlier than that. So 4, 5, and then by 5 to 6, it's clearing out. But then we're getting these little lines. One here, one here, one here, right? There's 3 of them there that you can probably pinpoint pretty easily. Watch. Sure enough, the first one kind of joins up with the second one a little bit, right? This was the first one. There's the second one, and there's the third one. These 2 are kind of joining together almost, bringing us a chance for showers later in the afternoon. So this is tomorrow morning again, right? There's 16. See, that's noon. But look, it's far enough that we might just run into just a little line of stuff. Just a little line right here might be what we see. This might not actually get to us, or maybe some of this back here. We'll have to see how that pops tomorrow during the day and see what the model picks up. I wouldn't be surprised if it made it bigger and pushed it down in here. I wouldn't be surprised if it pulled it all the way up into here either for tomorrow as we get there during that time frame. But rain during the day is what it's showing. Then there's that next little wave, another little small wave. This is around 6 o'clock tomorrow night. So now we're talking ball games again, getting into the ball game area. Looks like tonight's ball games will be okay, but tomorrow night we'll have to see if any of that ruins. It doesn't look like it's going to ruin a lot of ball games, but it does look like there's enough rain there to be an annoyance for sure. Goes through pretty quickly, and then we're okay until after midnight, this is 2 in the morning that it is here. All right, so that's on that front. I want to go back out now a little bit, and then let's talk about the long range a little bit more and get into the GFS. Then, the NAM Nest goes out a little farther. What does it show right now? Let's see how it goes. All right, so here we are Thursday morning, 2 o'clock, and it dries things up pretty good. You just got these little waves, and it looks like Thursday looks pretty decent, although look at that there, boom, right there. So, this is that sprinkly, cloudy kind of feel again. It's starting to feel like winter, it feels like, again, where we got these clouds coming in from the north all the time, and they swing around in through the state of Illinois and Indiana, and it gets gloomy, and it stays that way for a day or two, and we see some sun in the afternoon, and that's about it. And we can get some flurries normally or some sprinkles of rain out of it. That's the kind of feel it looks like for the next few days right now based on some of this information we're looking at. All right, and then what does the NAM Nest say for rainfall for it? It brings the rain in tonight. It's same thing, 1 o'clock. It's got more of a band down to the south of us, and a band up near us looks rather light, right? And then it goes through, hangs on. Here we go to 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Still shows a lot of this. This NAM Nest picks up these cloud decks pretty easily and just shows these very light, dinky little light showers that they look like. But that's a little more of a line right there, but still does not impress me at all at this point. So we'll see what it does through the day tomorrow. And then it brings that little wave down, pushes it through very quickly during the day, and then the rest of the day looks pretty good on that front. All right, so let's switch over to the European, the scare tactic model, right? That's the way I like to call it. And we'll put the SLP and precip on here. Now, they do this in blues, and I don't think they have the winter version. No, they don't, where you can see the greens. But here's the blues, and remember, it's a bigger, open, more model, so it picks up big things really well. Doesn't pick up little things as much. Kind of shows us this is Thursday morning at 8 o'clock Thursday morning, and we look pretty good by Thursday morning, right? Not much happening here. You probably could draw a high right in here if you wanted to, but it looks like the high's back up over here, more into the Dakotas. And remember what we were talking about, it's going to struggle to try to get to us and give us any effects over the next 2 days. Here we go into Thursday now. Thursday shows a little wave. There it is. That's more like a clipper, right? That's just some kind of trough in there. It's zipping along there that wants to come through on Thursday night. The good thing is it's Thursday night for us. And it does show like there could be a thunderstorm or two in there, I think, with your capabilities. Possibly. It looks pretty chilly, though. So is that snow? Is that a possibility of snow? Well, I guess it could be during that time frame. But because the 540 line is all the way down here, right? So you're going to be forcing temperatures into us. And look at this, the flow is here right now at that point. So we'll see how that goes as we get into that Friday morning. Remember, Friday morning looks really chilly. But now, if the European model is right, and there's a slight risk of showers, this is probably more cloud cover than it is anything else on the model. Cloud cover is going to keep us warmer in the morning on Friday morning. Remember, cloud at night acts like a blanket, right? And then during the day, it blocks the sun out, and that blanket keeps you cold underneath and doesn't allow you to warm up anymore. But at night, it doesn't allow you to get any colder. The heat can't escape into the atmosphere. All right, so here we go. We continue on. Friday looks pretty good. Friday's not bad. It looks pretty good. We got high pressure trying to build in. And then, so that would be Friday morning. Now we're into Saturday morning, but I'm interested in the temperatures on Saturday morning. This one's showing Saturday to be much colder. Look at that. The 540 line is way over here. So what are our temperatures going to be in here during that time frame? Well, let's look real quick. There it is. Looks like it wants to give us about 38 degrees. That would mean clear skies, obviously, and that is below normal for this time of the year. The beginning of May, we should have lows somewhere like 46, 47. And then it crawls across there. And then what does it do for our highs? But see, our highs aren't very, very strong at all. And then the next day, Sunday morning, it looks cold again, 39, 37 in there. So the European model is not doing too bad with the temperatures, at least at this point. We go back to the precipitation on here, and we can see how it opens up for a few days. So we took our big storm yesterday. We've got a little storm kind of coming through tomorrow night, right? And these little just disturbances, nothing major front-wise, until next week. Remember, I said one each week and then little small disturbances around it here or there. And so here we are at the beginning of or this coming weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we look pretty nice. And then we have a little wave of something coming through, right? And we see that, and it's coming from the north, so it doesn't have the punch that it does from the south, but it does look like there's a line of showers and maybe some thunderstorms possible in there. You got a high way over to the left here off the chart, and then you got this main low is up into Canada at this point. All right, now that's not the major storm. There's the major storm. By Monday night, this is Monday night into Tuesday, you got this bad boy, which is the lows way up here, right? You've got some kind of frontal boundary like this sticking out here. You can't really pinpoint a warm front much, but if it is, it's maybe here. And a lot of the moisture isn't even overrunning the front, but you're getting a lot of moisture on the backside of the front. Woo! A lot of moisture there over the lakes, Lake Superior, northern Wisconsin. And, so that's what it is. Now, so the good news is this front goes through. Look how strong it is. Monday night into Tuesday. Yesterday, what was the timing on this front yesterday? It was Monday during the day, was it not? I'm pretty sure it was Monday during the day. Now we're talking Monday night, Monday evening, and this is 2 in the morning on Tuesday. And look at all that rain with us right there. All right, so there is a lot of rain in there. Craig's in there. Good morning. Did you just say flurries? Is that what he was? Is that what he was thinking I said? No, I didn't. Yes. Is there a possibility? I guess there is a slight risk. Good morning, Ray. Ray's in here too. So you guys, yes, flurries. Did you say flurries? I didn't say flurries yet. We'll have to see what happens. All right. We go a little farther out time wise. I lost my OBS all of a sudden. There it is. Back to my screens. All right, cool. Okay, so that's that big storm on Monday into Tuesday that we're going to have to watch out for, all right, as it tries to come through. Boom, 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 boom. Then we're quiet. Maybe another pretty good wave on Wednesday. That's a good system right there, too, at least on the European model, right? And then we're fairly good for the rest of the week. We start to see a little something developing way out on Friday, but it really doesn't get much on us, does it? There's just not much there. It goes south of us. It's so far out, and that could be anything at this point. But the trend is quiet again, right? And then watch what starts to happen for the next weekend. Here we are, Sunday coming into Monday, and we're still good, but we see a developing system out to our west, which I think the GFS is going to pick up on. And we're going to change the GFS, so we can get that colors that I like, and we'll show that. Let's go back to GFS and see what it says. All right, so right now I feel more comfortable with the GFS hitting things than I do the European model. All right, so the European models, it can be wacky at times, and sometimes it's right on, and you go, wow, that was right. But currently, it's just, it's been off, how do you call it? It was out of phase, so to speak. It's not quite hitting right. But here we are. Here's Thursday into Friday this week. Looks pretty good. Some telltale signs of some rain, maybe Thursday night into Friday again. And then there you go. It's pretty quiet Saturday. This is the morning. It's going to be cold. You can see the 540 line on the GFS is south of Lafayette. So some colder temperatures Friday morning, Saturday morning, it dives way down here, right? Look at that. And then, and we see a couple little minor disturbances. Can we really call those disturbances? It's hard to tell. Might be with this. Meanwhile, the big high is kind of in control. And then we see the 540 line start to go back above us on Sunday, finally makes its move back. So now we're getting the flow around the high, which is shifted down to here. Right, earlier in this, it was back up to the north. See here it is on. See, this is why this tells me right here. There's a high right there, right, and this is Saturday night into Sunday is when we see that, right, and it shows some of this little green here, a little disturbance. Now, could be a minor disturbance, or it could just be fog and stratus that the model's picking up low on the ground and close to the surface, which it's done before. Just an indication. All right, so we get through Saturday and Sunday, and we don't see much on Monday on this one at all. Where's the next system building? Monday into Tuesday, and there it is. It doesn't look like much at all for us, does it? So the GFS is backed off, and it's pushed the rain south, pushed the rain down into Kentucky for a couple days there, or at least for all of Wednesday. Look at that. So Tennessee, Nashville, looks like they'll get some rain Wednesday morning, and then Kentucky, it kind of stays, and it's got that west-east look to it where its rain is running over the same area. So it's changed itself a little bit compared to what it was. And so then it brings in another system later in the week, and that's more of the Big Daddy storm, but still not wrapped up, still doesn't have all of the things we normally look for. I see a lot of disturbance, unsettled isobars in this area where you just see maybe a low here and then there's a low here. Oh, they try to pinpoint a low here, they put a low here. See, that kind of thing. What we see is there's something moving through here, obviously, but not nearly as strong as it looked yesterday. Didn't have the tightness, not all wrapped up in what we call the classic storms. We get into Friday next week, and Saturday looks pretty good. Look at this. Saturday looked decent next week. How about Sunday? Do we make it all the way to Sunday? We do. And now we start to see your daddy storm out here. Look at this. Low here. Look at all these isobars right here, right next to each other. So here's the flow coming up here. We're going to start warming up during that period. We start to see the flows as they do. A lot of moisture being forced into this area to the north. And this is Sunday into Monday. So both models are showing something trying to pick up on Sunday into Monday. The European doesn't go out far enough. And sure enough, there it is. And then we have a pretty good line. The low itself goes like up here, but the trailing cold front is going to be like this. When does it get to us? Well, it does the old Lafayette thing. It waits till Tuesday morning, next May 12th, 2 weeks from today, all right? 2 weeks from today, we got another band right there, some kind of frontal boundary off that low that's now off the chart off to the north, and we'll see what happens with it. And it barrels in some cold air, too, right there for that little bit of a chance for some really chilly temperatures on there during that time frame. So let's go back and look at the temperatures on the GFS here real quick and see what it's kind of looking at. And I'm going to kind of hit some of the highs and lows here real fast. We'll go through this. Here's Thursday morning right there, low 40s right there, 41, so maybe 39, somewhere in there. Thursday potential, 41 anyway. Not very high, not very warm on Friday. We're not seeing any flow from the south, right? We're not seeing any kind of flow doing this, bringing in warm air. We're seeing flow coming this direction. Right? So your high is way up here, right? All right, so then our flow is like this around it, and it's winning out the battle. There is no battle coming from the south, right? Look at, you still have it. You have an easterly flow all the way down into Tennessee on easterly flow. So we know what's winning the battle is the high at this point. So that's Friday, right? Friday morning, and then we try to warm up, but we're still only in the 50s. Maybe 60 is a possibility on Friday because of sunshine. And then Saturday morning, it's trying to get us 31 is close up near South Bend, right? Lafayette's at 35. We still see the same thing. Look at the flow is coming right here, right around here like this. So all the cold air is coming from that direction. Even down all the way to Tennessee, it's coming into the north, but they have that low that's off the chart, just off of this chart, that'll be bothering them and then bringing maybe some rain up on the north side for us on that one. So that's what you can see, at least on there. All right, so then you go through this. You hang on to the cold weather. The temperatures still stay chilly all the way through next week, or through the end of this week, excuse me. And then, again, we're popping 37s in here. We've got some mornings where we're going to have to worry about frost. We generally worry about frost all the way through about the middle of May, and then it's pretty much gone. I think I keep saying this, and my memory is not popping. I haven't gone and looked it up either. May 13th seems like the last average day that we get frost or a temperature at 32. Until then, obviously out in September, October usually. All right, so that's a possibility there. We'll keep an eye on that. There's the system to the south. Now we're starting to get some a flow that's different now. Here we are on Monday next week. We're finally starting to get a flow from the south a little bit more and from the southwest. We see 80s starting to build up out here in Kansas, and that's Sunday night right there, Sunday into the evening hours. So we drop maybe above normal Monday morning. We're back finally above normal. That might be from now until Monday. That might be the first time we get above normal, and that will be the low in the morning, which will be 59, upper 50s, let's call it, and it should be somewhere around 46 to 47 during that time frame. All right, so we see that, we move it along. We actually finally get back to a temperature of 70, maybe right in here Monday afternoon. We can see the pocket, right? We can see the warmth trying to move its way in here. Guess where the little spot is where it has the indentation? Of course, it's Lafayette. One way to look at it. And then we move on. We got, again, Tuesday morning next week. We're now back into the 50s for our lows, and we're looking pretty good on the warm side. Now we're pushing 70, definitely for sure again next Tuesday. But you can see the pocket right there pretty easily for next Tuesday evening. And then we're still back into the 40s, back to near normal next Wednesday. But here we are back to around 70. So still chilly, right? Chilly, but trying. Look at this big pocket of 90s right here in front of the low that's going to develop for the following week. This is what indication, as this low tracks up here, will it bring a flow up through here that's going to be strong enough to warm us up to above normal finally, maybe middle of next week. Let's see what happens. It's warm overnight. It's 54, 55, maybe 52 there next Thursday morning. And then Thursday, it's back up to around 70. Then it drops to 40s. Look at that. Look at this. So now we've got some more indication of high pressure in control to the north. So what is it doing with this low? This low on the GFS goes south. Look at that. That goes south. Right here. Here it is in Oklahoma. It's going this way. The European model had it going this way. Right? There's your big difference right there. If the model goes this way, we're going to stay chillier, all right? But it still shows us getting up near 70 on next Thursday, which would be about normal. Be pretty close to normal by May, 7th or so? Yeah, you're talking, should be about 69 or 70 right in there for our highs. But then it stays cold and chilly. All right, still stays below normal, all these temperatures. Here we are back into the 40s by next Saturday, all right, the 9th. We're back in, there we are, hovering around 39 again, and then only getting back up to maybe 60 that day. So a colder period. And then here's that big pocket of warmth again. Now, there was this second system, and this is where the European model totally fell off. Look at that, 90s maybe all the way up in there. Let's see what happens as it gets closer, because this one goes out farther. So maybe I have confused the two storms, and maybe this is the storm we were looking at, the European model going up there. But look at what it does here. Finally, back to 80 degrees possibly on Monday, May 11th. All right, for those of you who want the warmth. All right. So here we are on Monday morning. It's very warm, 56. And then we try to get back up to like 80 degrees that day. And then we're going to take some showers, and look what happens, because all the cold air is right behind the system right here, right? Okay, so you can see it, 30s. So look at this, 90s to 40s in Kansas. Boom, just like that. It's going to happen overnight for them. For us, we're going to go from the 80s down to the 40s ourselves. So that's a 40-degree drop pretty much, somewhere in that range. Next, Monday, Tuesday, 2 weeks from today, Monday into Tuesday, and it stays kind of chilly on here. So that one little system way out is the one that drags up some warmth and brings it in a little warmer by the end of the period there on that time frame. So not great news. The trends are the same. The trends are colder for both models. The one trend at the very late portion is trying to bring up some warmth. The trends are one big storm each week. One is not even looking that great, and several little minor disturbances through the week, all very typical for spring time frame, wouldn't you think? I would think so too. Thank you. Thanks for asking. All right, so here we are right now. We are updated to 54 degrees. All right, back and forth. Here we go, 54. They're saying 62 for the high today. All right, so I don't disagree with that. It just depends on the clouds. How much do we get out of here? Let's go look at what it's looked like for the last few days, and then what it looks like on the weather trends model. So the trends have showed exactly what we normally expect, which is lots of ups and downs for spring. And now it looks like a cold trend right in here, because here's today. Okay, today's high 62. Tomorrow's high only 52. Then we bounce back up to 72 maybe. Then we're back down to like 54 for a high on May 8th. So now we're out a week and a half now, right? So you can see there's only one little spurt in there, 72 on May 4th, maybe 66 is a couple days, but all these temperatures are below the average normal high, and then we get some warmth in the middle of the month to the end of the month. That's what the model's starting to show. And you're also seeing some of the colder temperatures in the early morning hours right here for the next couple of weeks right now too. So what it did, I think, yesterday was this warmth period was up a bit more, right? And it was the low cold was not extended as far as this is right now. So that's what we were looking at least on that front with that. Okay, so still 54 degrees out there. I know one thing I wanted to do before we get out of here, going to do it right now, is check on the Cubs score last night, because I couldn't stay up all night and watch the game. I wanted to, I gotta have to turn that off. All right. The Cubs, they were up 5-4, I think, the last I saw, and they were in the San Diego. What's the score? San Diego, Chicago. Did they win? Nope, they lost. They lost 9-7. Oh, no. Oh, the horror. The horror, as they like to say. But they had taken a 5-3 lead here. Then it was 5-4, and then I went to bed. And then, of course, it's all Padres until the end there. So looks like they tried to have a comeback at the end. Got a couple runs, but didn't have enough. That's 3 they lost in a row now. Now they're 17-12, coming back down to earth. The season is over. What are we going to do? It's still early. They're 5 games above 500. I don't feel bad at all for them. They'll be playing good, other than the pitching staff. I'm pretty sure that one of those that I thought was a spam call was the Cubs calling me to pitch, because they don't have anybody left. Everybody's hurt, which means, you know what that means? It means guys are going to come up from down AAA and stuff, and we'll start to see some of those. There's some of the highlights being shown on there through ESPN, and the home run that got them to 9-5, and everybody's happy in San Diego, and all the Cubs fans are like, well, what's going on? All right, so Craig, you got to check on some tickets for us for the Sox series in the White Sox Stadium, right? Where all the Cubs fans show up to, whenever that is, and we'll figure that one out. So the Cubs are, a game and a half back early in the season. They were playing pretty good most of the year so far, so I can't complain. A 10-game winning streak is always something exciting to see. Here's your latest satellite picture. You can see some of the opening spots on there. Let's go down to the subsector version and get in a little closer. There you go, Lafayette right here. and now cloud covered at the moment, and we got sporadic sunshine just to our west. Look at this, I see a lot of clearing back here on this, so that makes me think we're going to erode on the backside and we're going to erode on the front side of this cloud band right here. But this is the one that'll be a pain in the butt all day for us. Let's go in even closer. So you can see Lafayette's right here, right? And then this is the cloud bank that's going to be the pain all day. But I see openings, right? Opening spots here and there. So we're definitely going to get some sunshine. Whether we can get a full day of sunshine to get back up into the 60s, we'll have to see. And then it might be the highest temperature for a while. We'll have to get the trends and really look at that and see if that's the way we're going to go with this. All right, so I've got a doctor's appointment this morning, which is pretty cool. It's one with the pharmacy. We'll talk about some of my meds. A lot of you guys that are on here right now know my pain struggles and what I'm going through with the chronic pain, so I'm excited to talk to them. And I'm upbeat this morning, all about that, all about our weather, all about the differences. Did anybody get some severe weather last night at all? Most of it looked like it was still south of us and south of I-74. So I didn't really have to pop in last night. I didn't think there was much there. If it was quick and it moved through pretty fast. So for us, if you saw something, give me a yell, later. Text me or something, right? All right, so that's it for now, guys. Back to here. Let's come back out. You guys got to see my ugly mug a little closer so that I can say goodbye, everybody. We will see you tomorrow. Peace out.